When I was a teenager, I was an acolyte. Our acolyte director was a guy named Don. He stood about this tall, was a chain smoker, and he always was very, very insistent that we do everything right as acolytes. Now, when I was about 12 or 13, I started asking him questions. I would say, why do we do that? And he would always give the same answer. I don't know why we do it. We just do it, and you got to do it right. But I kept asking him because I always wanted to know. I felt like an actor who wanted to know his motivation. Why do we do this? Why do we do that? What are we trying to convey? And he never could tell me. He'd just say, we've always done it that way, just do it. Well, I remember one Sunday he was pretty agitated. And I was asking him why we did a certain thing in the service. And he was ignoring me because he was trying to adjust the acolyte robe on some 9-year-old acolyte with ADD who was flopping all over the place. Not only that, Don had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Yeah, I know we were inside the church. We were actually in the sanctuary, but we were inside the church, and he was smoking, and everybody smoked back then, I guess. But it's cigarette dangling from his mouth, and he's trying to fix this acolyte. And I say, why do we do that? And he says, do what? I said, why do we have to put our foreheads on the tile, bending all the way over while kneeling for one part of the service? You see, it was the part of the service, what we call the words of institution, where Jesus said, you know, that this is my body, this bread is my body, this wine is my blood. During that whole sequence, we were supposed to have our foreheads on the floor. I said, why do we do that? And again, he gave me the answer. I don't know, just do it. We seem to have a lot of bowing. I always remember that. We were bowing quite a bit. The church itself was what you'd call a low Episcopal church, more like Methodist than anything else. We had morning prayer most Sundays, and once a month we'd have communion. And we didn't like communion, we acolytes, because we had to bend over and put our heads on the floor. And Don didn't like communion because the service went on for an hour and a half and he couldn't smoke. So everybody was kind of agitated because it was a communion Sunday, and he really didn't want to deal with me. But you know, when I think about that story, it reminds me that later I did a lot of bowing at one point in a service that Don, as the acolyte leader, never prepared me for. It was an 8 o'clock service. You know, by the time I was a senior in high school, it was me and another senior in high school, a guy named Dick Carr. Dick Carr and I were the only acolytes who were willing to do the 8 a.m. service. And so every Sunday we'd swap off. He'd do it one Sunday, I'd do it the next. And then we'd see each other in school and brag about how late we stayed out Saturday night and still made it to church. But there was this one Sunday where I went over to help the priest at the altar. And we were always supposed to bow to the priest when we were there to help him. It was always a hymn back then. And he would tell us what to get the bread, get the wine, whatever. Well, this particular Sunday, I'm standing there ready, waiting for the priest to come over so I can bow and ask what he needs. And he's lifting up the veil off the chalice for communion. And he puts the veil back down. He lifts it again. He puts it back down. He slowly slides the chalice out from the veil and pushes the veil down really hard. Then he begins to gather it up into a ball. I have no idea what's going on. So he comes over from the altar with this wadded up fabric in his hands, and he bows. And he says, "This is a bat." I bow. "A what?" "A bat." He thrust his hands out to me. He said, "What do you want me to do about it?" "Take it outside." "Where?" "Anywhere, I don't care. Take it outside, shake it out, it will fly away." I take the bat. It moves in the fabric. And I go outside and I shake it loose and the bat goes flying away. And I always thought, what would Don think of this? You see, the problem is Don wasn't there. Not long after that conversation earlier when I was asking about why we touched our foreheads to the tile during the words of institution, not long after that, they started letting acolytes, let girls be acolytes. They started ordaining women. We changed the prayer book. And it was just too much for Don to take. He left. He didn't know why he did the things he did. He didn't know why he liked that it were only male priests. He didn't know why he liked that, girls couldn't be acolytes. He didn't know why he liked the prayer book that he'd been using for years. But he knew that he thought that was right. And so we went with it. And so that day when I was asking him why do we touch our foreheads to the tile? I asked him one more time, even though he said, we just do it. And he actually looked at me and said, you do that to show your respect for God. I said, we show our respect for God by sticking our butts in the air? To which you responded, Smith, you're a smartass. Just do what I told you to do. And he was right. I was a smartass. Still am. But it was that banter with Don that made me realize I really wanted to know what things meant. And I've kind of been on that journey ever since.